Hi, I'm Brie.
And I'm Charlie. And we're the TBI rock stars! Woo!
Yeah.
Every time I do that.
So much fun.
It is.
Because life after brain injury can still be fun.
It can. It's true.
It's on occasion.
Today, we're going to talk about rest as an action word. I got some responses to that from my recent blog about 5 things I learned from post-concussion syndrome. And I thought it'd be good for us to talk about a little bit more because it's really hard to rest. And it's hard to give yourself space to rest as much as you need to when you need to.
Yeah, it's something that we've brought up in videos before a little bit, but it kind of deserves its own video, I think, because again, we just don't meet many like lazy brain injured people who are just like sitting around doing like not enough. Like that's just like never the story, at least with grown up TBI that we've seen in our community.
Right. Everybody I know wants to do more, have more life, have more fun. There's really not an issue of people being lazy, as you say.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that idea of like rest being an action word and taking actual effort is a really important one, and kind of like this idea that you can't overemphasize in recovery.
I think insofar as my recovery, the biggest thing I needed to overcome was my own desire to do things and my own motivation to do something regardless of whether I actually had the capacity to do it. And so rest is an action word. I think both Brie and I make choices every day that support our healing through rest or accommodating around our limitations.
I feel like there's almost like this curve to it. Like right when I first got injured was when I had the least understanding of how impaired I was, but it's also because I was the most impaired that I was going to be. And so I lacked the ability to understand that I was impaired because I was impaired. And so right at the moment that it was probably a lot more critical that I rest and do less and find like really, really small challenges was when I was like, oh, shut up, like I can still do that and it's still fine.
Right, it takes forever for that like information to reach into the brain that something's changed.
It's so mind-blowing that it has changed so much. At least for me it was. That there were so many things that were different. My vision was different. My balance was different. My emotional control was really different. Right? Like there were so many different ways in which I was facing greater challenges that to try and wrap my head around all of them at once was, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like it took years.
It took years to figure things out. Let me say something. I officially, as Charlie, the post-concussion syndrome person, give you permission to rest and create your life in a way that you're able to maintain your health while also doing small things that will help you slowly improve. So I give you permission to properly rest. So please do, as a public service announcement.
Right.
It just is a good idea. There's rest like sleeping on the couch, but what I'm talking about and how it's active in our lives is the planning of my day. Okay, I can do this one thing or I can do 2 things today. What's most important? Yes, I want to do 13 things. I really want to talk to my friend. I want to go to this place. I want to have this fun thing, but I can't do that. So what are the 2 most important things? And can I schedule somebody else further out? That's how rest is active. I'm creating a situation where I can succeed and where my body, which just doesn't have as much to give, has a chance to go at the speed it can go.
And I think in the beginning, it can be hard to do that planning yourself, and it can be really important to reach out to whoever is in your life that might be willing to like have a conversation with you and kind of walk you through it, or where you can call and say, I'm having trouble making a decision around this. Because I know that, at least for me in the beginning, making decisions was just like
overwhelming.
It was just like not gonna happen. Like,
right.
Even trying to pick out what I was going to wear sometimes ended in like tears, frustration.
Yes, yes.
Like, little things can just really do you in quickly.
Yes, that's true. It's important to external help of someone with a brain that works is really helpful. But not only getting that help, but to get that help, generally you need to articulate or ask for it. So if you feel like you're actually really fine, except maybe there's this little problem because you hit your head a couple months ago, but it's really fine, there's no problem, I'd like you to just assume that you might need assistance right now. And
it's possible you need more, right?
More than you have right now. And to ask someone to help you. You can just do that. It's not like it's going to hurt anything, except your pride.
Just as like pride. The safe option, maybe checking with people a little more than you feel like you need to.
Oh, that's a better way to say it. That's good.
Because sometimes you think you have it and you're still kind of figuring out what your new capabilities are or where your healing is at right at that moment. And it can just be good to check in with someone else who has not had a concussion or brain injury recently.
Yes, I agree.
I had another thing that I wanted to say about this whole thing, which is that I feel like the really big struggle for me was kind of like being able to shed my ego in certain layers until I got to a point where I was humble enough and accepting of myself enough in my current state to plan realistically. Whereas I think 5 years ago when I got injured, I was just really not willing to accept that I had more limitations and really in a place of like, it's gonna be gone and like next week or something. And so I couldn't actually help get my life back to a healthier state because that denial was just really keeping me from bringing my current abilities and my current needs together in any sort of realistic way. And how that manifested for me was often not paying bills was a really big one, and often not eating very well because I would be like, I can cook for myself, and then like, oh, actually, like never happened. It was like frozen food all the time, like maybe.
But you didn't realize that you couldn't cook. It never got through your brain that you couldn't cook for yourself, so you kept on doing it.
Right, you get trapped in the cycle, and and there's just like this disconnect between what you can actually do and what you're kind of telling yourself you can do. So
yes.
I feel like that was like a big part of the journey, was just shedding ego enough.
And being honest with yourself and even and other people about what you can and can't do.
Yep.
I mean, being like having that gate of like, okay, I can do this much, but I can't do this extra thing.
Right.
Like that, mastering that, or at least doing okay at that, is the key to keeping yourself healthy. And creating an environment where you can heal. So saying no is actually you resting, is you making sure you can, you only have to do what you have to do, that you don't commit to more than what you can do. Yeah.
I agree. And I think that it gets into like having to really set a lot of boundaries over how you spend your energy. And that actually setting boundaries takes energy too. And so there can be just this conundrum, especially when your injury is recent, where you really need to have the ability to say, I can't do that today. I'm too tired. There's just no way. I'm cognitively tired. It's not even regular tired. And at that exact same moment, you probably don't have the ability
to know,
to say that and set that boundary. But as soon as you can, I think it is good to get used to saying things to other people like, that would be great, except today I don't have the energy. Or I'd love to do that maybe in another month or two, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. Or, there's just a lot of ways to politely set boundaries with people, but also keep the focus like on your healing and just gently remind people that you're trying to do that.
Right. And like, I feel like my friends know now that if, like, when we make plans, I might need to change them at the last minute because something stupid happened, like I couldn't sleep. So suddenly I'm much more fatigued and I can't go to the town and, go to a noisy restaurant and have lunch with them. So if eventually your friends, your family will get used to this, but first you have to like put it out there that we're going to make these plans, but it might change because it just might have to. So, yeah. And
it does take more patience from the people in your life to accommodate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pain in the ass.
For everyone.
For everyone.
For you and them.
Seriously.
But I think the side effect, at least in my own life, has been that the people that are still here are really in it and really wonderful to have by my side.
That's good.
And as a footnote to this whole video about rest being an action verb, is just that the thing that my occupational therapist used to tell me was that you really need the right challenge at the right time. And
this is Greg.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen all the same people. I know.
Yeah. Small world.
This is like our gossip now is about like our therapists and doctors. We're cool. We're really cool.
I feel cool.
But anyhow, what he always used to tell me was that you wanted to find the right challenge at the right time. And I think that that's really becoming a more dominant model in brain injury recovery at this point, just based on some of the articles I've seen and stuff. Obviously, I am not an expert, but that's what I'm seeing, is that there's more this idea of being in motion a little bit, doing what you can, but just being very mindful about when your symptoms are getting aggravated and when you need to stop, rest, give it more time. So
I think that's a good note to end on. Good point.
Yeah, and it's lovely to see everyone again on the internet after so long. It's been a while since we did a video, so maybe we'll do another one
soon
in the next 6 months.
Hard to say.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.